We wanted to give a quick overview of Screen-to-GIF and how it can be used to aid documentation creation in Trainual. You can quickly create short GIFs demonstrating a process instead of taking multiple screenshots. The file sizes are much smaller than videos, and editing and exporting the completed clips is much faster. You can see here's the Screen-to-GIF website. It's an open source application. You can see all the feedback everybody gave for it here. So the one we recommend typically is this installer here, which will give you the Windows version installed here. So where this tool really shines is if you are trying to document a process. And in this example, we're going to act like this is a virtual machine that we are remoted into, but it is just the sandbox utility built into Windows here, which is technically a virtual machine. But so you can see here there's a couple options. Now, one thing to note that this is the new style interface. So here's the old, here's the new, and you can access that from the options there. So in this new style one, what you do is you come in here and you can either select an area, which you can just drag and select a corner like this, or you can select a window, which is what we're going to use in this case. So we click on our window, and then you can hit record. And what it's going to start doing is recording this area here. So in this example, we'll pull up computer management. Just try to find something that you do within Windows. We'll go to local users. We'll set this password. User must change it at next logon. I'm not going to actually save that. I don't think it really matters because it blows this away every time. But you can see here, once we hit stop, that it opens us up in the editor here. Now a couple things, you can move back and forth with your cursors just like in a video editing application. So for example, like say you know, that screenshot key error popped up and we don't want that in our video. So what we can do is go to the clip after that, and we're going to hold down the shift key, and we're just going to scroll over to the end here and hit delete those frames. And then the other part too, you notice, like say when we clicked on computer management, how it took a long time for that window to load. That may be another spot where you'll just delete some of the frames just to make it not look like it takes so long. So maybe we go in and we just delete these ones here. So we're just basically using the editor just to clean up our quick recording we did there. So we're coming in on this tutorial, blah, 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 whatever we want to put on there. So a couple of the other things that are great to add to videos is you can add in, you can do free drawing, you can do shape. So if there's something you want to select, things like that, you can add that in. What you want to do is select the frames where you want it to be ahead of time and where you want it to stop and end before you apply it. In this case, if we hit apply, you'll notice that it's only going to be on that single frame. So I'm going to do Control Z and just remove that from there. So for example, say we want to come back here and we just want to highlight the local users part there. So we could come back here and we're just going to find the frame that we want, and we're going to select all of them up until it gets clicked on. So we'll keep coming back. So then this is just an example. This isn't something you'd probably do. So we're going to select this just to draw attention to it, hit apply, and you'll notice down in the left hand corner it's saying applying overlay settings, so you can kind of track the progress there. And now you'll notice that all those frames we had selected have the local users and groups selected with the box around them. So we're going to undo that also. So you can add text, you can add shapes, you can do all that stuff up here. Some of the cool things to add into this is a border here. So I have this set to black, and then I do -2. You notice that it says use negative values to make the border expand the image. When doing so, the border will be applied to all frames. So this basically is just adding a 2-pixel border around the entire image. So we're going to hit apply there. And you'll notice down here in the corner that this is obviously going to take a while to apply to every frame in the current project, which usually this is a little bit faster, but I am recording with OBS, so this does take a little bit of time here. So we'll wait for that. And I'll probably edit this out to just make it shorter for you guys. Okay, so once we've added that border, the other cool feature you can do is add a progress bar. So again, you'll see in this example our border is black, so a black progress bar doesn't work so well. Typically I have this set to white, so you can see there that it's very obvious down right there. 5 pixels, and then again this is going to apply to the entire project. So we're going to hit apply there, and it's applying to the frame, so I'll also fast forward through this to keep it faster for you guys. Alright, so now that that's done applying, you'll notice if we scroll down there at the bottom, you can see that progress bar. If we scrub through these frames here, you'll see that progress bar moving across the bottom. So the next part of this is we're going to click back to the File menu, and we're going to hit Save As. Now I have these GIFs saving to the temp folder on my C drive just so they're not being backed up by OneDrive by being saved in my documents or somewhere like that. So we're going to go ahead and hit Save here. And again, this takes a little while. You'll see it says preparing to save. Eventually it will start the process, and the notification, you'll see it up here, it switches to analyzing the pixels and then encoding. So you can kind of watch that process right up in that corner. It doesn't take too crazy long. And then we will show you guys an example of putting this GIF, now that it's saved, into Trainual. So here's Trainual. Of course, the GIF's great, but you have to have somewhere where you can host it, where it's able to display the content correctly. And in this case, Trainual is 100% able to do that. So we are going to do insert image. We're going to find our GIF and upload it here. So you'll see that we have our nice border around this. Now this is in the dark mode, so it's a little harder to see that border, but it just helps break it away from the background so it's not blending in. And then once it finishes uploading here, you'll see that we have that nice progress bar down at the bottom, so whoever's reading this tutorial has a clear idea of where we're at in the video or in the GIF. And we just want to make sure to not make these too crazy long, because unlike a video, there's no way to stop and start these and start over. So it's a really good idea to break your GIFs into smaller chunks as you're going through and doing the documentation. So typically these GIFs are going to be alongside the text explanation for what you're doing. So you might come in here, we might say step 1 is click on the start menu, type computer management, click on computer management, blah, blah, blah. So you can just see what that would look like there. And then it just gives them a visual example of what you're talking about doing in the documentation. So this is a really great tool for that. And then when you're done, you just click back on recording, and it's going to pull that little menu back up where you can select your area and get this all set up like that. So we'll just record this blank area so you can see what it looks like when we hit stop this time. You'll notice it's going to say, do you want to discard the previous project? Just say yes. And then here's our little short clip of the blank area to start editing. So just to go back over the two super useful parts are going to be this border and then the progress bar. Those get used all the time. There's a lot of other settings in this application, but for the documentation we help create, typically we're just using that progress bar and then the border.